you've met all of them and worked with them a little bit at this point, or not yet?
I've met all of them, but not a lot of hands-on stuff, obviously, right now with them.
Recruiting. And
Yeah. So just been on the road quite a bit recruiting and things, but in terms of meeting them all, and after a team meeting, got a chance to meet with them. After they get done running and stuff, or if you're cruising around the facility, you get a chance to talk with them all. But, and did one-on-ones with them. I made phone calls to them all and spoke to all of them one-on-one. So.
Great to have you here.
Yeah,
looking
good to
forward
be
to working
here.
with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well said, guys.
Hey, it's good to see you again, man. How you doing?
Can we stand? I'll stand.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate the time. Coach Messingham talked about being impressed with what he's seen so far of the receivers. Hadn't had a chance to watch a ton of tape or that kind of deal.
Right.
But what are your thoughts on that position group as you come into seeing them?
It looks like it's a relatively deep position group. I haven't watched much tape either. We've had a lot of recruiting things going on, and so in and around the complex, there's highlight tapes rolling, and so there's times where I'm actually watching the highlight tape and seeing some guys that made some plays out there on the perimeter, and so just them walking around the facility, getting a chance to see some of the guys in my office as they come through and just say hello. One, I think they're really good kids. The conversations I've had with them, and then two, just a matter of just when we get a chance to get in the spring ball and truly evaluating them. From a physical standpoint, and seeing where guys' strengths and weaknesses are, and start to work with them hands-on.
You mentioned the recruiting. I know you can't talk about specific names or anything like that, but it seems to me that you guys have had a lot of success kind of in this late period. Are you happy with how fast you guys have been able to hit the ground running and pick up some commitments and fill this class up?
I think so. I think it's an easy sell whenever kids get to Manhattan. I know that Taylor Bratt's done an outstanding job, and really all the support people that have been here. That Coach got a chance to meet early. When he at first initially got hired and was kind of playing double duty as far as getting to Manhattan and then bouncing back to Fargo. So I know that there was a really good foundation of folks here that had been involved in the recruiting process prior to us all getting here and hired. And then when we became full force, it was kind of just a natural progression into recruiting, and then getting kids around our staff and around the facilities and around Manhattan. It sells itself to some degree.
When we were down in Frisco, we talked, and you had a lot of familiarity with K-State from working and prepping as Zell Roberson and that kind of thing. But has anything surprised you about Manhattan since you got here, whether it's facilities, town? Is anything that you didn't expect since you got here to Manhattan?
I'd say the facilities, they're different than whenever I was playing. I know when I was at Missouri State and we came here and played, this facility was here and the complex was here, but once you walk into that atrium, you're immediately kind of like, wow, they did a really great job of preparing this thing for the student athlete and really designing it, I think, with the athlete in mind. So that was a really a good surprise in some ways. And then yesterday the weather's 70 degrees.
I know.
And you see kids out riding their bikes. I'm driving through neighborhoods, looking at housing and those types of things. So I think that just and then the guys that have worked here and played here that I know personally, they say it's a great place to raise a family and obviously a great institution to work at.
Something that Coach Messingham said when he was up there was he was pretty impressed with what he's seen from the receivers groups through these workouts so far. So just from what little bit you've been able to already look it over, how do you feel about your position group?
I feel good about them without putting pads on, without being able to work with them directly. Just seeing them around the complex, they look like they're a group that has depth. There's going to be guys that really you can capitalize on whatever their strengths are, and they're got guys from the 6'5" guy to the guy that's a little longer than the other guys, to a guy that might be 5'10", 5'9", that's quick. And so I think there's a wide range in that room of athletic talent that we'll be able to utilize in our system.
When it comes to, I know you always want to do your own evaluations of things, but how much do you lean on Colin, just him having been here, he was a co-offensive coordinator? He knows something about their strengths and weaknesses too.
A lot. I'm going to lean on Colin a lot. He's sharp. Obviously, he's a great resource for all of us, and myself in particular, talking about the wideouts. He's the main resource I've been using. Coach Stanton Weber, he's another guy that played the position here, that's worked with those guys directly. So just picking those guys' brains, and then obviously getting down with Coach Dawson in the weight room and talking to him about them, from a personnel standpoint, the things that make them tick, their strengths and weaknesses, their mental makeup. So everyone that's been here, that's been associated with them, heck, I could go talk to the cafeteria lady and say, what do you think about Zuber? Is he a guy that's a thank you? There's all kinds of folks here that these kids have been around that you can use as a resource.
You bring up Zuber right at the end of that. What has been your maybe kind of thoughts on him so far? Because he kind of had a very up and down season, last year for this.
Yeah, statistically, I hadn't looked at any stats. I've seen some highlights. Obviously, in the highlight tape, it's a positive play. During some of these recruiting things, we have highlight tapes running and stuff like that. So that's the extent of film I've watched.
Yeah.
I need to pull up a game and start cruising through some games just to truly watch them and see what they've done. But I can't speak for any ups and downs he's had. I just know that he's excited. I think the whole unit is excited for this upcoming season and getting into spring ball and getting rolling.
I'm sorry, I think I came up in the middle of his question here.
They weren't good.
I wanted to ask this all the new coaches here, just what it's been like, just the transition to Manhattan, getting to know this team, get to learn a little bit about the city while you're still having to do all this recruiting at the same time.
Well, the past few days, I've been able to settle down a little bit more since we haven't been on the road, obviously. So it's been great, just getting around a little bit. Got a chance to drive around yesterday. Great weather. You see people out jogging, walking their dogs. You see kids on bikes riding around the neighborhoods and stuff like that. And so from guys that I know that have played here, that have lived here, that have been part of this community, not only with K-State football, just Manhattan in general, they say it's a great place to raise a family. It's a great community, and obviously we have a great fan base. So those types of things are positives. And then as you get a chance to be here more full-time than not, and you get off the road traveling, you get a chance to really see those things.
What would you say for you when you're looking at a receiver? What is something that maybe you say you would look for more often in a potential prospect than maybe some other guys in your same position?
Toughness. I think if you're evaluating tape, body control, this kid, can he move his body in a way that he has to make an adjustment on football and maintain his balance and keep his feet and explosiveness. I think those are some things. And then when you get down to the nitty gritty, you want to know how intelligent they are as far as their football intelligence. So the three things I look at primarily would be explosiveness, savviness, the ability to understand football, and then just toughness, and whether that's blocking, showing, and even mental toughness in training. How do they train and things like that. So those are the top three attributes that I would really start to break down.